Good morning, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Evanston. I'm Lynn Kendall, and it's my privilege to be your worship associate this morning. I'm here with Reverend David Miller, who serves the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Fairfax in Virginia. He grew up in the Evanston area, and we're pleased he is with us this morning. Whether this is your spiritual home or you are newly discovering our community, we're grateful to share this time together. We strive to be an inclusive and welcoming community, seeking truth and love, and nurturing the human spirit for a world made whole. We are guided by our principles and values, which remind us in every moment and through every challenge that each of us is worthy of love and that we are all connected through the vast and beautiful web of existence. We come together to remember our kinship with one another and to hold one another in heart and mind with tenderness and careful attention, and to dedicate ourselves more fully to living our shared values. Welcome to those of us joining online. We hope you have your chalices ready. People of all ages are a welcome and important part of our faith community. We are blessed to have the children in the sanctuary for the first half of every service, and the entire service is for all ages about once a month. The nest in the front is our designated area for families with young children, where we have quiet fidget toys and activities and a kid-friendly order of service. We encourage our parents and caregivers in the nest to help support our youngest members of the community to participate in the service in an engaged way. Nursery care is available every Sunday in room 11 at the lower level, which you can access by the stairs in the back of the sanctuary, and the service is streamed to the lobby if you need to step out for any reason. As part of being a welcoming and inclusive community, we have some information posted on the screen that will help orient you to UUCE and our service. And now a few announcements. We still have tickets available for the August 2nd fundraiser for Building Peaceful Bridges. Second City Jazz will be providing a concert to raise funds for immigrant families who have lost their SNAP benefits. We hope you will join us for this fun event from 6 to 9 p.m. on Sunday, August 2nd. Please see the newsletter to reserve your tickets. We have two collections going on right now. The first collection is with our food and shelter team, who is collecting new adult underwear for Connections for the Homeless. The collection bin is located in the lobby by the Giving House, and donations are being taken until August 7th. The other collection is with our Immigrant Solidarity team, who is collecting new backpacks and school supplies for the Haitian Community Organization's Back to School celebration. The collection bin is also located in the lobby under the coat racks by the Lost and Found bin, and donations are being taken until August 14th. Are you looking for a new way to get more engaged in this year's election cycle? I bet you are. Join our UU the Vote working group in writing and mailing voter engagement postcards to Michigan and North Carolina. Stop by the UU the Vote program table with Carolyn Laughlin after the service today to pick up your postcards or to find out more about the project. And now, let us settle in together, gather our attention, and share this time of reflection, celebration, and inspiration. As we begin our worship service, let's quiet our electronics and our bodies as we join in beloved community. Welcome to worship. Thank you, Gregory. The Unitarian Universalist congregation of Evanston was built on land that was recorded as being transferred from the local Potawatomi community to the U.S. government in 1829, shortly before the Potawatomi in this area were forcibly removed west of the Mississippi River. This land was then sold to white settlers. We remember the ancestors of contemporary African Americans, the individuals, families, and networks of Black people who built up this country's culture and economy, a role forced on them originally by enslavement. We acknowledge the impacts of intentional violence, of the Middle Passage, and enslavement, which echo through the generations and remain a reality today. We offer these acknowledgments as one small effort toward building long-term solidarity with contemporary communities. We commit ourselves to incorporate these admissions into our lives and turn our thoughts into actions. Please join in our words of shared commitment. We name these realities with honor for all the ancestors, respect for our descendants, and gratitude for the land we use as sacred space. Katie and Claire Berta brought the flowers in remembrance of Deb, Katie's mom and Claire's grandma. As they light our chalice, symbol of our living tradition, please join in saying the reading, an adapted version of chalice lighting for the work of Unitarian Universalism by Reverend Eric Walker Wickstrom. The words are on the screen. As we approach our service today, let us remember that we are doing the work of Unitarian Universalism. When we do the work of Unitarian Universalism, we touch lives. When we touch lives, we change the world. May this chalice we now can remind us throughout this service of our ministry and our mission.
Good morning. Is there anyone from the nest who would like to help me with the chalice or the covenant? Charlie? All right, will you?
My name is Charlie. I've read the covenant many times before. It's been a while.
All right, and then can you ask everybody to please rise and body your spirit?
Please rise and body your spirit. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is a great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
Thank you. Did you want to say, greet your neighbors?
Greet your neighbors.
Thank you very much.
Please.
I hope those of you joining us online greeted each other in the chat. Thank you all. If you are still feeling new to our community, I invite you to stop by the little table with the red tablecloth at the back of the sanctuary. Carolyn's with you the vote. Allie, hi Allie. Allie's back there and can answer questions and tell you a little bit more about us. And then please stay during kinship time as we continue to build relationships among us. Please join in singing our opening hymn, number 1028, The Fire of Commitment. Thank you for that story, Reverend David. That was very entertaining. I invite all of us now to settle into a time of quiet reflection. I know our friends in the nest are very engaged today, so I invite you all to take a deep breath in with me. Are you ready? And exhale slowly. And we're going to quiet our conversations and quiet our voices and quiet our bodies. If you have a joy or a sorrow you would like spoken aloud, you may write it in the book that is found on the little table as you walk in from the sanctuary. Or you may look at the website, and on the home page there's a little yellow button that says Joys and Sorrows. Or you may email me while Reverend Eileen is still on sabbatical. We listen to these offerings with tenderness and respect, and these are our joys and sorrows that were shared before the service today. Kevin O'Reilly is thankful to UUCE for allowing him, along with friends and family, to hold a memorial service led by the Reverend Elizabeth in memory of dear family friend Lynn Straczewski. The joyous and moving service perfectly reflected all that we loved about Lynn, and the beautiful and contemplative setting of UUCE was a perfect fit. Kevin, you're in our thoughts. A joy from proud Mama Sue Larson. Griffin's letter to the editor of the New York Times was published in yesterday's newsletter. His letter was in response to an essay about the labels used to describe folks in the LGBTQ community, and was informed by values he grew up learning here at UUCE. Rita Rousseau became a grandmother on Friday. Yay, Rita. Her son, Lucas, and son-in-law, Alex, brought home Julia Margaret Negrit Holenbeck. Julia was born June 17th in Chicago and adopted through the cradle in Evanston. Congratulations, Rita, and your family. And another joy from Andy Fisher. My Lot 7 balcony tomatoes ripened, and I ate them yesterday. Sharing these concerns of the heart and these joys is part of our practice of beloved community. If you have something on your heart or mind today that you would like to express, please come forward to one of the chalice tables, either on the side or here in the front, to light a candle or to drop a stone into the well of tears. If you would like a candle brought forward, please raise your hand and I will bring one to you. Please come forward.
Morning. Please join together with our shared words. For these joys we give our thanks, for these sorrows we give our love. Please join me now in a spirit of meditation, reflection, or prayer. Since I don't know how you do this here, I'm going to do it my way here. This morning, as we gather in this space made holy by your presence, I know that there are many things on your heart and on your minds. This is my home community. I am from Evanston, Illinois. I have tracked what you've been through over the last year. I am grateful for your efforts. So, as we join together now in this spirit of prayer, spirit of life and love, that which is known by many names and many faces, we're gathered here today in this town of Evanston, Illinois, that has seen so much strife over the last year and has stood strong for democracy, for love, for hope. We're grateful for the efforts of this community. We're grateful for the efforts of this congregation. And in our hearts, as we sit here today, we feel the pain and the struggle that's going on in our country and in the world. And we are grateful to be in this community together, a community of love, a community of hope, a community of beautiful children, a community that is happy to be together and finds joy, because we will not be robbed of our joy, will we? Amen. Can I get an amen of that? Amen. We will not be robbed of our joy. Amen. We will not let that happen. We will not let fear take hold in this community. We will be strong, and we will be full of love at the center, because that is what our faith tradition does. May that be so, and amen. Please join together now in our shared response, Go Now in Peace. As we sing the response, number 413, Go Now in Peace by Natalie Sleeth, please feel free to name the holy as you are moved, and our young people, preschool and older, are invited to head to their faith formation time with their adult leaders. Let us now join together in singing. Please remain seated.
As we say in our covenant each Sunday, service is our law. UUCE is called by our mission, values, and principles to contribute to our community, to form accountable partnerships, and to express gratitude through giving. Today's offering will be shared with the Zacharias Center, which works to mobilize the community toward ending systemic sexual violence while amplifying the voice of survivors through trauma-informed care, advocacy, and prevention education. You may text to give, mail in a check, put cash in the collection bowls, or give from our website. If you write a check, please indicate in the memo line if your check is for the shared offering or some other giving. The ushers will now come forward to pass the collection bowls down the rows. Please give as generously as you are able, and may what you give bring you joy.
for our reading. There we go. For our reading today, I actually chose words of a colleague who wrote this just 2 days ago and posted it on social media. But I really wanted to share it with you today. It's titled, Please Don't Shut Down, by Reverend Kate Lohr. There will be days when the weight of the world settles in your chest, when another headline feels like another stone, when you wonder how much sorrow a heart can carry. Remember, this is how fear tries to win. Not only through cruelty, but by convincing kind people that compassion is too expensive. Don't believe it. The ache you feel is not evidence that you are losing. It is evidence that your heart is still awake. Guard that, not by closing it, but by tending it, the way one shelters a small flame against the wind. Rest. Step away when you must. Find beauty. Laugh often. Hold the people you love. Then return again and again and again. Because every act of stubborn kindness, every refusal to look away, every hand extended across the widening divide declares what fear cannot bear to hear. You may darken the sky, but you will not have my spirit. You will not teach my heart to stop loving, and as long as love still finds its way into this world, you have not won. Amen. What a joy it is to be in my hometown, where I attended high school, and where I'm now speaking with my hometown folks. It was here at ETHS in the Combined Studies program with marvelous teachers like the recently deceased Owen Hine, that I learned how to think critically about some of the bigger challenges in life. So actually, that is in part what I have brought to you today, some thoughts about one of those big challenges I've been living with for a few years now. Thoughts I suspect belong to all of us who are trying to keep our faith in this very hard season of our collective lives. The awareness of this challenge came to me originally in a completely unreligious context, from a supervisor I had when I worked for a large nonprofit organization in California. At some point, the CEO of the organization said something to me during the course of the conversation that I will never forget, and I've used hundreds of times since. He said, "In the absence of clarity, People fill in their own meaning and context. This one comment has helped me with my study of how systems work. It's informed my now 19 years in ministry. I know I don't look that old, right? And it's helped me think more deeply about one of the challenges of our collective lives. Now let's take that in for a moment together. In the absence of clarity, people fill in their own meaning and context. Now this is not a claim about premeditated malice. It's not a claim about willful ignorance. It's a take on human nature under conditions of ambiguity. When we don't know what something means, we often don't wait patiently for more information. We tend to fill in the gap, whether that's through our own frameworks or cultural understandings of the world, or when it comes nowadays to the struggle we're having with our political lives, we often revert to the uneasy, sometimes, comfort of our tribal narratives. Knowing those are some of the places for which the gaps get filled, as a UU minister, I've thought a great deal about what that sentence means for congregational life. And in addition, what it means for all of progressive religion, and beyond that, what it means for the world. And more days than not, a world that's coming apart at the seams, it feels like. And here's what I think is true about us. We people of progressive faith, we inheritors of a tradition that's always prized the free and responsible search for truth and meaning. What does filling in your own meaning and context mean when we have found it extraordinarily important to cherish the concept of individual conscience? It's one of the genuine legacies of our religious lineage. Nobody sits in a room like this on a Sunday and gets told from our pulpits about what to believe, about the nature of the divine, or the fate of the soul, or the meaning of evil or suffering. Although we certainly will reflect on those things, the freedom for all of us to make our own decisions about them was hard-won over centuries, often at real cost to those who insisted upon it. It's not a small thing. It's not a thing I would ever ask us to surrender. But I want to name something, because I think it's the hinge on which the future of our faith, progressive faith, and maybe even our country as a whole is going to turn. Freedom of conscience was never supposed to be the whole religious or societal life. It was supposed to only be part of our story. The other part, the part named in one of our founding UU documents called the Cambridge Platform, was, in the language of the time, the concept of how we are called to walk together in the spirit of love. And that speaks to another vital part of our tradition, which is our collective or sacred commitment to each other, or perhaps better known as covenant. This is about the voluntary willingness to be bound to one another in that spirit of love. The willingness to say, whatever I believe privately, there are things that we hold in common, promises that we keep to each other, directions that we move in together, even when it asks us occasionally to sacrifice our own personal preferences or momentary needs. Somewhere along the way, the story began to be told in many of our congregations, and it became much more about individualism than collectivism. We became communities exceptionally good at making space for every individual truth and less practiced at asking anything of each other in return. We learned to honor the free search so thoroughly that sometimes we have forgotten how to do covenant. And covenant, not doctrine, was always supposed to be what held us together. Not agreement about what is true, but a shared promise about how we will be with one another while we search. This matters now more in my lifetime, I think, than ever before, because we are living in a moment defined by exactly the kind of ambiguity that the sentence was warning about. In the absence of clarity, people have filled in their own meaning and context. Look at what's happening in our public life. Look at how much of the anger, the fear, the retreat into tribal certainty that we've all seen around us in our politics, in our families, in strangers shouting past each other online. It is being generated by this exact mechanism, a lack of shared clarity. And now it seems occasionally a leaning into conspiracy theories, tribal acrimony, and God knows lies, right? So many lies. And of course, in some ways, this is understandable as people are living in a fog of uncertainty about their economic future, the historical and physical safety, their place in a rapidly changing world. And rather than sitting in that uncertainty together, it feels very human to fill it in instead of with whatever story offers the fastest relief or momentary comfort. That is why I believe that progressive faith communities are one of the last remaining institutions in America that are structurally capable of doing something about this. Something to, if you will, help save the soul of this country. When we are at our best, and we're practicing placing love at the center, progressive faith communities like this one is one of the possible models for where people who don't have to agree on ideology or their theology, sometimes even their physical understandings about the meaning of life, can still choose week after week to sit in the same room, sing the same songs, raise each other's children, bury each other's dead, and care for each other's well-being. That's not nothing. In a fractured society, a room full of people who have covenanted to stay in relationship across real difference is kind of a miracle. And I don't think we say that to ourselves enough. But, and here's the harder thought, the miracle only survives if we are willing to do the second half of the work. It's not enough to be a community where multiple understandings are welcome. We also have to be a community capable of collective action, collective commitment, collective sacrifice, based in shared understanding of our mission and our values and what the moment calls for. A congregation that will affirm anything but asks nothing of its members will not have the strength when perilous times fully arrive to actually be a spiritual refuge for anyone. Refuge requires a structure, and a structure requires people willing to support it and maintain it together, sometimes who disagree bitterly about the color of the paint to paint the structure and still show up next Sunday to pick up the paint brushes. I want to be clear here, myself. I want to be clear, because I am not interested in a reversion to some lost era of institutional conformity. And I'm guessing you aren't either, or you wouldn't be here. This isn't a call to trade our freedom of conscience for conformity. It's a call to something more important in these perilous days, the possibility that individual freedom and collective commitment were never actually in competition, that they can be mutually beneficial rather than mutually exclusive. A congregation where people feel most free to bring their full, unedited, doubting, wrestling selves, is also a congregation capable of the deepest collective commitment, because the commitment isn't extracted through their pressure, dogma, or shame. It's offered freely by people who trust that their differences will be held with love and care. Covenant doesn't ask us to think alike. It asks us to be faithful to each other while we think differently, something this world desperately needs. There's a framework that I lean on a great deal these days, drawn from writer and organizer Adrienne Marie Brown, who teaches that change happens less like a machine and more like a living system, that small local relational shifts repeated and networked are what move whole ecosystems, not top-down mandates. Nature, she points out, doesn't rush. It moves at the speed of trust. I think that's exactly the right metaphor for what's being asked of progressive religion right now, and more specifically, what I believe we need to ask ourselves as Unitarian Universalists. It's just possible that we can help this world become more connected in small, repeated, faithful ways to the people actually in the room with us, and then letting that connection ripple outward the way it always has, the way open-hearted congregations deeply committed together have quietly changed the world and their towns for hundreds of years without anyone ever writing a headline about it. That just may be the future calling of Unitarian Universalism and of progressive faith more broadly, if we are willing to walk together toward it, a recovered fluency in covenant, the muscle of staying bound to each other on purpose, in the middle of disagreement, in the middle of fear, in the middle of politics designed to pull us apart, and in the middle of a world that keeps handing us reasons to scatter. Every time a congregation practices this open-hearted mission-centered covenanting through our differences, it really practices it. Not just talks about it or says it on their mission statement that sits on a shelf or cites it in their worship material said with repetition but with little heart. It becomes a small working demonstration that people don't have to agree about everything to be faithful to each other. And in perilous times, that demonstration is no minor thing. It might be one of the most important things left for religious communities to offer a frightened world. I believe in this kind of community, which includes this, my hometown congregation in my beloved Evanston. For as far as I've heard, you have demonstrated this throughout the years. Good for you. I'm so proud. Although I had nothing to do with this congregation when I was a boy. I was in the Jewish congregation. With that said, the ambiguity of these times are not going away soon. The fog of this time in our lives is not going to lift on some fixed schedule, but what can happen is that we get to decide how to fill in the gaps. We get to decide whether the meaning we make together in rooms like this one is meaning built on fear and individualism, or meaning built on covenant and trust and the slow, patient, unglamorous work of staying bound to one another in a shared mission and collective purpose. I know that congregations can do this. People who disagreed profoundly about theology, about politics, about the right way to run a potluck, have chosen again and again to remain in relationships. For it is a choice, repeated year after year, that becomes something that looks like another important religious concept, sometimes named grace. I actually don't think it needs to be that rare, for it is available to any group of people, Unitarian, Universalist, or others who are willing to practice it. The future of our faith will not be written by people who had perfect clarity about where the world was headed. It will be written by people willing to covenant with each other in the absence of that clarity, building a different kind of shared clarity, not always agreement, but clarity about their mission and their purpose, and then choosing to stay and paint that structure together when they all haven't agreed on what the right color choice is. That is hard work. It's also some of the most important work for the future of this country. I know that we are equal to it. I believe that those of you in this room and rooms like this everywhere need to keep choosing each other through that choosing small, steady, and repeated choices. It will be something that will make an important and vital difference together in this beautiful and incredibly complicated world. Amen to you, and may that be so.
As we extinguish the chalice, please join in saying the words on the screen by the Reverend Elizabeth Sell Jones. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Please rise in body or spirit and join in singing our closing song, This Joy by Shirley Caesar.
What a joy to be here today. Thank you all so much. It's a privilege for me. I want to leave you with these words. Do not let them rob you of your joy. In my congregation in Fairfax, Virginia, we make sure that we have joy, because joy will keep us going through these times. Will it not? Yes. Amen. Anyway, it's been a pleasure. May you have a peaceful and joyful week. May you go in peace.